Frequency Podcast Network. Stories that matter, podcasts that resonate.
He's in the building!
Drink the moment. Drink it.
I said empty your mind.
Coquettish and coy. Ow. Ow.
What?
There's people that are dying.
The wickedly talented.
More than great. It was historic.
Crack is
What?
Oh, good for you.
I have to apologize.
One of the hottest.
Welcome back to The Reheat, a podcast that re-examines the wildest celebrity news and scandals of yesteryear and asks, how would we react to the same events if they'd transpired today? I'm Sarah Sahagian.
And I'm your other host, Sadaf Hassan. Now, to start off this week's Hot Off the Press, let's run through some key headlines of the past week or two. And Sarah, please cut in with any spicy thoughts, as always. So, Bravo announced that the once delicious, I think, hit reality series Vanderpump Rules has been renewed for a 12th season, but with an all-new cast. I am very okay with that. Take out the trash. I was very done with all of those people. In other news, better news, merciful news, Marilyn Manson dropped his defamation lawsuit against ex Evan Rachel Wood after she
Yes.
accused him of grooming and abuse throughout their relationship, and he's agreed to pay her legal fees. For more on this, listen to the deep dive we did last season. This case between them has been years long, right, Sarah? We covered this quite a bit. I'm so happy for her that she gets this little win. And in much lighter news, Drake has accused Universal Music Group of paying Spotify and Apple to make his rival Kendrick Lamar's hit "Not Like Us" go viral, which I think is beyond embarrassing. This feud needs to wrap up. Drake, sweetie, you are losing. Whose side are you on here, Sarah? Are you on a side?
I mean, I wasn't previously really on a side, but now I'm definitely on Kendrick Lamar's side because this is just so sad that he's accusing them of this. Like, I mean, come on, Drake, just live your life, right?
Live
You have
your
your
life.
mansions, you have your basketball games. Like, just go be a rich person. You don't need to be this petty.
No, also you're a father. Stand up,
Yes.
sir. So just everyone listening, the right side to be on is Kendrick's side, although I still feel like they're both being children, but like, come on, that's enough now. Okay, time for our first deep dive. And if you know me, it's my favorite topic. Ben Affleck. Sarah, what's the latest update in his love life? Please tell me.
Well, he was seen getting cozy with his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner. You have to
Dun,
specify
dun,
which
dun.
Jennifer.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. He loves
And you have to
his
specify
gems.
which ex-wife. So, because he canoodles with all of his ex-wives. He was also recently seen canoodling with Jennifer Lopez. Like, okay, here's the thing. What is wrong with him? But also, what is wrong with Jennifer Garner? Does she want him back? Like, she knows this man is bad news on so many levels, right? He has caused her so many problems. What do you think this is about, Sadaf?
Better question, what is right with him? Because here's the thing, Sarah. I don't think they're going to get back together. I don't think it's that. I think they're just really good exes. Like, they actually like to be near each other sometimes, and we know they share children, which means they're going to be in each other's lives forever. I saw those photos, and let me just say, I felt such warmth in my heart. It is the holiday season. I like seeing that they're getting along. I don't know that they would ever get back together. I have a hard time seeing that. I just feel like Jennifer Garner is too mature.
So are they just cuddling then, basically? Like, she's almost cuddling him in a maternal way? Like, you're having a hard time.
I was thinking in a friendly way. Do friends cuddle? I mean, they had their arms wrapped around each other. They were
I mean, I
nestling.
don't think I would do that with my ex-husband if I were Jennifer Garner, but I don't know. Jennifer Garner is a saint, so she's more
She
evolved than I
is.
think almost all of us are.
She is. I think she's a very nice lady, and I think maybe too nice. It's hard to say. I mean, they look like they have a really functional co-parenting relationship. They were, mind you, the children were not with them at this time, but they
Yeah.
were volunteering at a food bank for Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, which, come on, guys, this is so sweet.
It is sweet, and you know what? I'm pretty sure it was her idea. I think it was probably her
Yeah.
idea to get him out of the house. and to get him to do something productive that would help other people. I mean, maybe it was his idea, but I just feel like it was hers.
Oh, of
And good for
course.
them. Like, good for them. I think they're nice people. I think she's a nice person. I have my doubts about him.
No, I completely agree. Also, it's good publicity for Ben, which he needs more of. Let's be honest here. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I just think that it might be confusing for the kids. And I understand that pap shots can be taken out of context. I think if you were his kids, I guess probably Jennifer Garner is a great communicator. So she likely has explained, like, we're not getting back together. I just think it might be hard for them to see images with any ambiguity when they've been through so much.
That's fair to say. That's fair to say. I mean, I wonder what they're like around them. And does this mean that he's going to spend the holidays with them? Because Ben being alone on Christmas feels right, but Ben being with Jennifer Garner and their children feels better. You know, I want that for him. I want that for them. Also, you know, there's been rumors for a while that Jennifer Garner has a man. She's just not very public about it. I don't know if it's true or not. We don't often see her out with him. It could be the case, but even more so, I feel in my heart, and again, you guys know I'm very biased and blind in this issue, but I love it even more for that reason. If you're co-parenting, you should be friends if you can be. But you're right. We've also seen him canoodling with Jennifer Lopez, and that feels like they've been fucking, you know? So
Yes, they have. I hope that Jennifer Garner invites him over for Christmas because the kids deserve it, right? They deserve a happy, harmonious Christmas. This is more about them than it is about Ben, in my opinion. Ben has made a series of bad life decisions. So I think maybe one Christmas alone by himself to reflect might be good for his future evolution. Like, that might be a growing experience for him. But
we are grounding Ben Affleck.
Yeah, well, I think he does have to understand, like many movie stars need to learn, that actions have consequences, right? And that he needs to start behaving like a mature adult. So I wouldn't hate it if he had to spend one Christmas by himself. Like, I don't want him to be alone forever. But I think it's more than likely that Jennifer, angel that she is, will invite him over. He'll hang out with his 3 kids. Here's the thing. Is it going to be like It's Complicated, where he wants her back because he realizes this is the life I could have had I not had sex with the nanny?
Oh my God. I can definitely see that. I mean, here's the thing. I think we're going to spend the rest of our lives, their lives, seeing photos of them out together. And one day they'll be spicier than they were before. One day the truth will be different when they go home at night. And by the way, her children and Jennifer Lopez's children are friends. So could there be what's gonna happen on Christmas? I want to know. Are they all?
They might all be together. Like, listen, if anybody could cope with that situation and be okay with it, it's Jennifer Garner. She really seems to put her kids first in every situation, and I admire that about her. She seems like a great mother, like a truly, not just by celebrity standards, but by any standards. So maybe they're all going to be together.
I kind of love that. Will it be an orgy of love? I think so.
Yeah, and I think Jennifer Lopez would be okay with it too. I mean, she is still hanging out with Ben's kids. I think she also is a very good mother who puts the kids first. So, you know what? It could be one of those things where you're right, this doesn't mess up the kids. They understand this is my eccentric, weird family, but at the end of the day, everybody loves everyone else, and we just make it work.
Exactly. I fully support them. This is Gen Z. They're okay with more things than we've ever been okay with.
That's true. They're open-minded. I mean, the kids are all very bright. They're all very successful. Like, Violet, you go get your Yale education. Good for you, Violet.
And we know that Violet is that smart and that special because of Garner. You know, that's all Jennifer.
Well, they do say that it is likely true that intelligence is passed through the mother.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sarah's a mom, FYI, if you forgot.
I am a mom. And Jennifer Garner.
Genius, yes.
Jennifer Garner is a bright lady. I mean, I actually think Ben is intellectually smart. I just think he's life stupid.
Yes, I completely agree. And on that great note, I say we take a quick little break. And we're back. Okay, something that's been occupying my brain and a lot of social media feeds since the release of Wicked, which
Mhm.
was wonderful. I loved it, is just how thin the stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo appear to be right now, and if we should even be commenting on their bodies. Sarah, I've been wanting to have this conversation with you in real life, so let's have it
Mhm.
on the podcast. What do you think?
This is a really hard one
Yeah.
because I actually don't like commenting on people's bodies, but I
Mhm.
do think that we can comment on the overall trend of celebrities getting thinner and thinner and what kind of example that sets for children, whether that sets an example of healthy body image or encourages eating disorders, or if not eating disorders, at least dissatisfaction with our bodies. So I don't know. I'm of two minds about it. They do look tiny.
Yeah.
And I also know that filming a musical is very active and you spend really long days on set. So lots of people lose weight while either doing a Broadway musical or filming the film adaptation of one, right? This is something that a lot of performers have said
Yeah.
happens. So it might not be that they're trying to look that skinny, but what kind of example does the overall trend of thin being back in
Yeah.
set for our kids? And I'm not saying like there have always been thin people, there will always be thin people. There's nothing wrong with being a healthy thin person, but the pressure to be thin, if that's not your normal body type, as the mother of a daughter, really bothers me, and
Yeah.
I'm scared. What about you?
Oh, I think you said it perfectly. Yeah, I'm of two minds because I think, yeah, it's not a good look to comment on people's bodies when we don't actually know what's happening. However, I do think, especially when it comes to Hollywood, where we know there is such a pressure to be thin, particularly
Mhm.
on women, particularly the stars of a tentpole movie, that we should talk about it because we need to be open about the fact that thin is back in a way that it hasn't been, I dare say, since like the 90s.
Mhm.
And it's come back, I want to say maybe over the last year or two. And I think GLP-1s have helped it. And by that, I mean things like Ozempic, like that's a big conversation.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm of two minds with that too. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I think the conversation around it has gotten really toxic. And
Yeah.
I think it's led into this whole thing now where body positivity is not really around like it was before. And because of that, we're having now this heated conversation around these women where there's so much tension just if we're
Yeah.
allowed to say, hey, they don't look well. I have to say, sir, I don't know if you watched the movie, but I loved it so much. But while I was watching it, I found particularly Ariana Grande tough to look at times because I thought she doesn't look well and she is in my face for the entire movie and we're just gonna act like it's not happening. I don't think that makes sense.
It is interesting because also the look I associate with Galinda
Yeah.
is more like somebody like Megan Hilty, who was one of the
Yes.
people who played her on Broadway, who is famously curvaceous, right? Kind of has like a Marilyn Monroe type body,
She
right?
does. Yeah.
So, and I'm not trying to say that one body type is the body type you need to play a certain role. That's so
No. Yeah.
limiting, right? So limiting. But you're right, it is very different from the way we're used to seeing Glinda. And I mean, obviously, she's always been petite. That's been part of the
Yes.
character. She's always been a shorter woman, but she hasn't always been super thin.
I guess I would also say I think one of the things that gets stuck in my head, and I think a lot of folks have said this too online, is that Ariana has said, I believe on her TikTok, that she's the healthiest that she's ever been. And I think that's when, especially, we have to have a little bit of better media literacy, which Sarah and I
Mhm.
always say, but dissect and analyze the things that you are
Yeah.
hearing and that is coming out of celebrities' mouths. I think that's when it's troubling because if she's going to say that and it doesn't look like that's true, we need to talk about it. We need to talk about it with kids, like Sarah said. It needs to be something that's out in the open. We have no reason to protect celebrities where we just don't have the conversation. People out and about in our real lives, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not about to go walk up to someone and say, hey, do you have an eating disorder? It's not about that. Hollywood is on a different level and it deserves to be critiqued.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that when you are a public person, we critique what you say and your gaffes and what you wear and all sorts of
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
because these people, like it or not, I mean, they are role models. And anybody who says, oh, they're not role models for children, okay, get over yourself, right? Like,
Yeah.
they are, okay? They are people who are very visible. We see representations of them, giant representations of them on screen. Yes, they are role models, at the very least, role models of body image for children, right?
Exactly.
So it is important to understand that. And I've even noticed, like, my 4-year-old will sometimes talk about people being fat versus skinny. So that language is
Ah.
back in,
Yeah.
right? It's very much back in. And I try not to model that for her,
Hmm.
or at least she can use the word fat, but not in a loaded or bad way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I try to model that for her. But she's definitely picking it up at school from maybe some of the older kids. So that conversation is happening again. It's scary, it's frightening. So I agree with you. We do need to find a way to talk about this with kids,
Yeah.
hopefully in a way that's respectful of Ariana Grande if she does have an eating disorder. But I also, another really upsetting thing I found is because of Ozempic and the fact that Ozempic is so expensive,
Yeah.
now weight is even more connected with class than it ever was, right?
Oh,
This idea that
yeah.
you are, if
Ooh,
you are a rich lady, you're
yeah.
super, super skinny, right?
Such a good point.
And now we've already in our society have tons of class discrimination, but
Yeah.
now I feel like there is this huge intersection between fat shaming and fat phobia and classism.
Yes. Yes. Oh my God, what a great point. And again, these are the two stars of the biggest movie of the year. So it's saying a lot. It's saying a lot. If anything, I just hope us talking about this gets you listeners talking about this. That's it. Just have the conversation. It's okay. It should happen. Okay. For our last little segment here, Sarah, I want to again go a little lighter. Um it's not so much news that I'd like to discuss, but our current new Christmas movie favorites because we are in that season. Netflix has been pumping them out. I also noticed BET has been pumping them out. I didn't know BET was on that vibe, but here we are. Like they've got a ton of these terrible rom-coms,
Hmm.
so they've been churning them out. But also, really, this is just an excuse for me to discuss Hot Frosty and Chad Michael Murray. Can we do that, Sarah? Are you up on your Christmas movies?
So I haven't seen it yet, but I think it would be a real treat for me to have you describe Hot Frosty to me.
I would love to. Okay, here's the thing. It's a very simple premise. So, a snowman turns into a real man one day and he's really hot. And then he falls in love with Queen of Hallmark, Lacey Chabert. That's the story, Sarah. That's the whole thing. And by the way, as we know, snowmen don't have clothes. So when he turns into a man, he's naked and he's beautiful. And he's
It's
played by
very sexy for a Hallmark movie, but they are getting sexier. Like Sarah Drew's last year had a sex scene in it. And she
Oh
was
my
very
God,
adamant that they not
what?
cut her sex scene.
Okay.
She was the executive producer and she wrote it. She was not in it. Jana Kramer was the female lead, but
Ah.
Sarah Drew was adamant that there needed to be a sex scene in this Hallmark movie.
Oh my God, I'm shocked. Okay, well, this kills my theory because actually Hot Frosty is Netflix. And here's the thing, Netflix's new crop of Christmas movies are a little sexified. Like, not really. They just have
Mhm.
a lot of topless, beautiful men in them. And I thought to myself, what's the difference between Netflix and Hallmark? Because Netflix is stealing Hallmark's model. They're just adding a lot of men without clothes. And I was like, this is great. But evidently, Hallmark is getting sexier.
I think everyone's making it sexier.
Okay.
I think everyone is doing it to up the ante because, as you mentioned, more and more places are doing these Christmas movies. So you can't just say, like, we're the only game in town anymore.
Yeah.
You have to add in an extra it factor. And what's interesting about the sexiness, because I mean, I have seen the trailer for Hot Frosty and I've seen some of these sexy movies. It's like Bachelor level sexy.
Exactly.
Like network TV, ABC's The Bachelor, right? It's like, okay, a topless
Yes.
man, he looks good with his shirt off, right? Like it's not super erotic, right?
Totally. I think
yes,
we
this
got
is
like
pretty
two
tame.
kisses, maybe two kisses in that movie, maybe. No French
Yeah,
kissing.
it's pretty tame stuff, but by this genre standards, it's definitely an evolution.
It's an evolution. I want to say the other one that I haven't watched yet and I'm dying to is a return of Chad Michael Murray. And he also looks unbelievable with his top off. Listen, I love a topless man. Chad Michael Murray, I know he's problematic in some ways, but God, he hits my nostalgia strings. I gotta say, he's in a new Netflix one that is literally just about Britt Robertson, who plays a woman who goes back to her hometown. Of course, her parents run a performance venue. The venue is struggling. She decides to help revive it by running a men's review, aka a men's strip show. That's
Yeah,
holiday
Magic Mike,
themed.
basically.
Magic Mike meets Christmas. And of course, Chad is the star. And of course, they fall in love. Spoiler.
Yeah,
I
and you know
love it.
what? Chad Michael Murray is a good-looking man. Okay, you're
Oh
right.
my
Like,
God.
I don't have like a crush on him as a person,
Sure.
but I mean, I've thought he was attractive since I saw him on Gilmore Girls, right? When I was
Yeah.
like, wait, why is she picking Tristan over Dean? Dean's so hot. I
Yes,
don't
there
get
you
it.
go.
Obviously, you want Tristan, you don't want Dean.
There you go. There you go. He also looks even better now. Can I just say he looks unbelievable? I love
He's always been attractive, but he has
Oh,
aged well.
He's aged very well. Also, side note to all of this, Lacey Chabert, cutting back to Hot Frosty, which, by the way, I just want to say, it is a terrible movie. Again, I am speaking within context of these movies. It's such a joy. But Lacey Chabert is a very good actress. I was thinking about this while I was watching it.
She's very good. And you know what? Even that terrible Netflix rom-com, Christian Mingle, was better than it had any right to be, because she's a solid leading lady, actually.
She's
and
very
surprisingly
good.
much more feminist than I thought it would be, because the moral is essentially you don't have to change yourself for a man, and you should live your truth, and then if the man wants you and you want him, that's great, but that's not the focus of life. Like, actually, I found Christian Mingle bizarrely empowering.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
No, I like Lacey Chabert. I think she provides entertainment people want and need, and she acts the hell out of it. She's so professional.
She's really good. She's really, really good. If you do watch Hot Frosty, which I know a lot of you will or have, please just pay attention to her performance. Obviously, it's not a movie that requires much, but she does so much. And I would like for her to try feature films again if she can get there, because she is really good. Also, I will say she and Lindsay Lohan, former Mean Girls co-stars, were on a recent episode of Watch What Happens Live. It was so fun seeing them together. Lindsay is in the other Christmas Netflix movie. She's had one, I think, for 3 years running now. It's fun to see actors like her and Chad of the same era relaunch their careers through holiday movies. Like, who would have thought? But it's like a nice little safe launch pad, I guess, and everybody watches.
Yeah, and who would have thought, like, that Lacey Chabert and Lindsay Lohan, when Mean Girls came out, would kind of just be doing the same work when they got to this point in their careers. And you know what? There's great dignity in doing a holiday movie for Netflix. So this is not a criticism of either of them, but it's just interesting how things evolve. And actually, really, this is a big comeback for Lindsay. I mean, 10 years ago, we were worried she would never do meaningful work again. So this is a step up for Lindsay. But I do think it's worth celebrating the working actresses who always show up and give us what we need consistently. And that's been Lacey. That's been Lacey her whole career, whether she's in Mean Girls or she's in Christian Mingle. She gives it her all.
Yes, this is all for Lacey. We love Lacey. And I will say, maybe we'll probably do a Lindsay episode at some point, because she's got quite a few big things coming out too. She's got that new Freaky Friday. She's on a roll. I love to see how good she's doing. She looks so healthy. She looks gorgeous. But Lacey, I want Lacey to get a little more love and respect. Okay, that woman is hustling. Okay, and it sounds like she's running towards the Netflix check more than the Hallmark check, which I know is a little bit of, there's tension there. But Lacey, go towards Netflix and then go towards the bigger studios.
Wherever you get your money. I mean, I just want her to go wherever they pay her what she's worth, because she's worth a lot. This woman is a star, okay? She is a star, and I want her to get what she deserves. She's iconic. Like, she's one of those people who's much more famous than I think people realize. Like, she has a lot of name recognition.
She does. She was also on Party of Five, which I forgot about. And Andy Cohen, of all people, reminded me the other day.
And she was great on Party of Five.
She was. I think because she looks so young, it feels like she's lived many lives. She's incredible. Lacey, we love you. Go out there. Live your career. We're watching. We're
Come
into
on the
it.
pod, Lacey.
Come on the pod. Actually, speaking of, Sarah and I will be doing a special Christmas episode in a couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Will Lacey be there? We will see. We will see. She's busy around
In
this
our
time.
dreams. I mean,
In our-
Lacey's always there with us in spirit.
Yeah, she is. Yes, she is. Anyway, that's this week's episode. Thank you to our editor, Evan Wexler. And of course, thank you to all of you wonderful listeners. You can listen to The Reheat for free on the Seeker app. You can also find the show on the Frequency Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to hear more from me, you can find me at _Sidafasan. Sarah, remind us, where can our listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram at SahagianSarah. And if you liked this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe so other listeners can find us too. And if you'd like us to keep growing, we would love for you to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thereheat, where we've got some goods in store for you. Thanks for listening.